What's poppin'? I'm back. I'm about to cut. See if we can see it. My little brother right now. See if we can get him in. Bow.
There we go.
We're gonna do nothing too crazy. We're not gonna touch anything off the top. All we're gonna do is a shadow fade, ball taper on the corners and blend in the beard. Let's see what we can do, guys. Stay tuned. All right, first we're gonna set our shadow guideline. Nothing too crazy. I'm gonna use the Gamma Ergos and just set the first guideline. Always remember to flick out. And always clean the canvas. All right, now, use the one closed, set the first guideline, and we're gonna take that out. But what I think, bro, me personally, just because I'm a barber, I'd probably go to New York, Atlanta, Texas, places where there's like big like barber culture, just so I can get better, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we're gonna first focus on the fade everything up, and then we'll set the taper guidelines and ball them out, and then taper up from there. So get the 1/16 of the half guard and open it. And all you're gonna do is just get this light line out. I recommend people that are just learning how to cut to get a clipper with the notches so you can see what step you're doing. I already know there's barbers that don't need it and just have a regular lever. You guys can do that as well, whatever feels comfortable. And like I always say, I always fade up. I never fade down. I set a guideline, blur it out, and then go the next step up. So now that we got that guideline out, we're gonna go with the next one, which is the 1.5 closed. We're gonna set another guideline. Remember, if you're a beginner, always make bigger guidelines. Once you get a little bit better or been practicing for a couple of years, you can make them smaller. But for right now, just remember to set those guidelines nice and thick. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get the one, open it all the way up, and get this line out. Remember, always flick out. Don't be scared to run that line over. It's already coming out. Now, if you still see some dark lines or heavy marks, I can always go with the 1/16 after, which is the half guard, and blend that out. Now, my brother, he doesn't like ball fade, so what we do is we give him a ball taper instead, which gives him a little bit of flavor to his haircut instead of just having a shadow fade. I think it looks a lot more clean cut. Now I can see some dark lines, some spots right here. So what I'll do is just get the 1/16, or the half guard, and just open it. just tap and flick away. You don't need to use the whole blade. You can use the corner and be more detailed with it. And just flick away. Just line up the line. There's no rush. Now if there's darker marks, you can always go down a little bit more, try and fade that out. So after we do that, we're gonna get the 2 guard and set the next guideline. Go all the way around. Now my brother's braids have been in for a week, so you have to be careful with getting all the flyaways. The flyaways or all the hairs have gone out the braid. Most people use clips. I've cut his hair for so long that I don't need to anymore, but I do recommend for people that aren't as professional as I am to use the clips. Always clean the canvas. So next, all we're gonna do is get the 1.5, open it and fade that line out. Now you can tell that there's a whole dark line going all the way around. So before I put the 1.5 and use the 2, I'm gonna go down and start using the 1 to flick out this bottom line just to get that 1.5 guideline out. Like I said, you don't need the whole clipper. You can just use the corner and lightly flick out. And it should just go away. Sometimes you don't need to do this, sometimes you do. A lot of time with darker hair, you do need to do it just so you can make it that much more detailed, make the cut a lot better. Lastly, for all this going around, we're just gonna use the 3 guard and close it. But what I wanna do is, he does have flyaways, so I do wanna put some clips on so I don't cut any of his growth. I suggest using these more than these because these are a lot bigger. All you wanna do is just tuck it. You don't want to dig it into his hair because you can pull the braids out. And we don't want that to happen. Get the 3, close it. What you want to do is scoop out. I'm going slow so I don't cut any of his new growth. You don't want to dig into it because then that's going to make him look like a cone head, and we don't want that. I do suggest people that are getting this haircut to fully get your hair braided before. Getting your fade, it'll be a lot easier so the barber doesn't cut all that excess hair, but for right now, we're just gonna do how it is right now, which is okay. Remember, be patient. Try not to flick any of the growth out because it will take a long time to grow back. And all I'm gonna do carefully is just get the 2. I'm gonna get the 2, open it up, and then fade it down. This is always the hardest part, I like to feel like, so always take your time. There's no rush. You wanna cut his braids out. As I can see, you can still see a heavy dark mark, so I will use the 1.5 open after just to get that blemish out. Now all we're gonna do to finish off the fade part is get the 1.5 and take just this dark line out. I'm gonna get the 1, open up all the way. Now if you like this cut or want to see me do another type of cut, comment below, let me know what you want to see. Now if you guys remember, we said our first guideline was with the no guard all the way open, all the way around to right here. So I have this whole section from here to here to bald out if I want to or go lower. However, I have all this space. Remember your guidelines. So I'm gonna use my trimmers, my FX Babyliss, these are Patrick the Barber trimmers. And I'm gonna set my first guideline for the taper. You can go over like this to make it more precise. Just be careful not to dig too hard because you can leave an indentation in the balding. And everything will look cool except for a big line, and you don't want that. So I know this from up here, all the way up here, is a half guard. So that's all it is just blending this from here down. You can bald it to make it more defined. And all we're doing is just closing it all the way, step by step. Just softening up that line. That's all you're really doing. And then I close it a little more and go a little lower. Remember to always flick out. Then I'm gonna close it again and go lower. You can already gradually start seeing the taper coming along. Do it again. That's all it is. It's just closing the lever little by little and going lower. Last one. And it should get that line out perfectly. Now I still see some dark marks right here, and a little bit right here. So I'll just open it and flick out with the corner. I do see a dark mark right there. I know the last guard that I used right here was a 1.5, so I know the next guard would be a 1 open, and just barely flick out that line. Remember your guidelines, remember where you set them. Detail makes everything better. So now what I'm gonna use my hitters, my Chameleon FX, Babyliss Frank the Barber, and set my guideline. Line them up in the back. I suggest people with a longer neck always get a bald taper so it doesn't look as long if you just keep it with a shadow or something like that. So that's a good tip to have. So remember your guideline went straight over here, so we're gonna have a smaller taper. So I'm gonna start it a little bit lower. Bald out a little bit. And I know all this is a half guard, so all I have to do is just fade down. Take a little sip, water break.
I'm passing the bug out.
So the same steps I did on the top, I'm gonna do at the bottom. Set my first guideline. And just fade up. After my first guideline, I'm gonna hit the 1 closed. And don't dig in, be as gentle as possible or you will leave an indentation on the beard. 1.5 all the way open, 1/16. The same thing. That line doesn't get out, you open it and just flick with the corner. Once we use the 1, we're gonna get the 1.5, close it all the way, set another guideline, and just flick out. Get the 1, open it up, and just repeat the process. After the 1.5, we'll get the 2, close it, set the next guideline. Now, you don't have to go as down. Some clients like it higher, some clients like it lower. It all depends on their preference. I've been cutting my brother for years now, so pretty much do what I want to do with his hair, how I'm feeling. But normally with his face structure, it looks a lot better when it's a little bit lower than higher. Now 1.5 didn't get it out right here, so I'm gonna use the 1 open, lightly flick out. Now what I like to do on the last step of the beard, if I know this is a 4 and I used the 2 already, the next step is a 3 closed, but I'll just open it up and fade it up. If I don't get that whole line out, I'll get the 2 and lightly soften it up. 1.5 open. Yep, and we got it out. All we're gonna do is just line them up. Here's one side. Boom. And here's the other side we need to finish. So like I said, we started off right here with the shadow with the half guard, so I'm gonna start it off a little bit lower. Just fold the ear, it would be a lot easier instead of you trying to go around the ear. I know when I first started, I wouldn't fold the ear and I would just give them the most squiggliest line in the back. And that can mess up a whole haircut if the back just doesn't connect properly. You don't want to be known as that barber that can't connect the back of the ear. Set my bald guideline. And since I know this is already a 1/2, all I have to do is just fade lower. Remember to flick out every time. Go lower, little by little. All you have to do is just blend in the beard. First guideline. After the first guideline, 1 close, set the second one. Don't dig in because you can set an indentation and you don't want that. Get the 1/16 or the 1/2, whatever you like to call it. Just fade that line out. 1.5 closed. Set the next guideline. Don't be afraid to experiment. Obviously, ask your client, hey, can I try this? Maybe give a discount, or if it's one of your boys or family members. But try going high to low or low to high. Figure out what you like. 2 closed. Set up that next guideline. And I'll use that 1.5. 1.5 open to to get that line out. Now if I don't get that line out, it's okay. I can use the 1 and open it all the way. So now that I know that this is a 4 all the way, instead of closing the 3 setting a new guideline, I'm gonna just open it and blend up. To me, I feel like it keeps more of the bulk or the darkness at the bottom, which I like. All I have to do is use the 2 right here, open, and little by little just blend it out. I always go from the bottom and then to the top. And connect it. All we gotta do next is put some spritz. I recommend the pink one. The only thing is if you don't clean it, it'll get clogged. And we're gonna line up the top. Spritz, all it is hairspray. You can get it at any Sally's or beauty supply for cheap. All you gotta do is just line them up. So I do recommend using your balders for more detail work. All you just need is your handy dandy razor. All you can do is peel the skin and pull. Have the blade at an angle. You don't want to have it all the way down or sideways. With the beard trim, I see a little dark line right there. I know if I use the 1 all the way open, it should get it out. Remember, you're only good as your last haircut. So if you had a hard haircut and it came out whooped, that's how good you are. So always make sure to give your 100 to each cut. There you guys have it. So if you like this haircut, don't forget to subscribe, follow, hit the thumbs up so you can get more haircuts like this.